Today I'm at the Benetti shipyard in Livorno and I'm about to go aboard project number FB272, the second of three 100-meter plus super yachts, Benetti likes to call them Giga Yachts, that were launched within the space of a few months of each other. Luminosity behind me here has been called a breakthrough yacht, and not just because of her immense size. She's 107 meters in length with a beam of 17 meters. Nor for her striking exterior design with 800 square meters of windows, nor even for her breathtaking interior design. No, there's something else that makes Luminosity special, and that's her cutting-edge propulsion technology. Because at 5,855 gross tons, and by the way, that's a measure of her volume, not her weight, she's the largest diesel-electric motor yacht afloat. And we're going to spend all our time here in the engine room, the beating heart of the yacht, if you like, where we'll discover that although there are some similarities with electric or hybrid cars, there are also many significant differences. The terms diesel, electric and hybrid are often used interchangeably and sometimes inaccurately in relation to yachts. So here to explain the difference more fully, we have our expert guide for the day, Michele, who was Benetti's project manager on Luminosity during the build. Michele, can you explain in simple terms the difference between hybrid and diesel electric and how Luminosity in many ways is a mix of both?
Normally you associate a propulsion system with a normal generator and a shaft line conventional transmission system. On this vessel we have a diesel electric engines connected with Azipod plus a battery pack system with a huge reserve of power available, which we are talking about 3 megawatts of power.
Most people, when they think of hybrid, think of cars, but on yachts it's different, isn't it? Because you can't recharge the batteries when you're coasting downhill or braking. So what are the main advantages of a diesel-electric system on a yacht like Luminosity?
Definitely more flexibility. Flexibility in terms of engine room layout. Flexibility in terms of use from the operational side. And then associated with more efficiency. Less maintenance, better distribution of the power on board, and last but not least, less noise and vibration because we don't have the normal shaft line propulsion system, but everything, the transmission is submerged under the sea.
Okay, Michele, so let's have a look around. Where shall we start?
Let's go to the generator room.
Okay, so we're standing in front of one of the generator boxes, and this is where all the power production starts.
Correct. So we have 3 soundproof boxes. Each box contains 2 generators, Caterpillar C32. Each generator has a capacity of 1 megawatt of power. Connected with the generators we have a converter produced by EEI. Then we have the battery system produced by Saft. And everything managed to a very advanced, sophisticated power management system developed by Sistema. And at the end, obviously, the propulsion system from ABB with the 2 Azipods. Each Azipod has a capacity of 2,200 kilowatts.
And I believe you have a waste heat recovery system that reuses the cooling water from the generators, right?
Yes, each generator has its own heat exchanger, which recovers the cooling water system, seawater cooling system, to produce the hot water, so we can reduce a lot the amount of power on board to produce the hot water normally made by boilers, electric boilers.
Michele, we're in the battery room, all 36 tons, I believe, of batteries. How many battery modules do you have in here? How are they arranged?
So we have 780 modules divided in 60 racks units. Basically, this room is divided in two big power battery packs, like two extra generators. Each battery pack is connected with its own converter. The arrangement of this room required a lot of calculation and engineering development through a very restrictive risk assessment calculation required by the class. Don't forget that we are in a PYC boat, so the rules are the most severe, let's say.
And the electricity produced by the battery banks is not just used for the hotel loads, but also for something we call peak shaving, and even for driving the boat in silent mode, right?
Correct. Peak shaving is the main peculiarity of the battery system, which is a huge contribution to make the diesel engine functionality much more stable, because they can absorb immediately the requirement for the hotel loads, and also to drive the boat without the consumption of the fossil fuel. So you can drive the boat for in between 13 15 nautical miles. Obviously the time depending on the speed and the energy you required. But it's quite a considerable, remarkable distance for a boat like this, because it can be taken also like a take me home, so for safety and security. And in case of a failure from the diesel engine, you have a huge energy to be used for take me home. So we are in front of one of the two converters installed on board. Each converter is capable to manage 1.5 megawatts of power. These units are quite remarkable because one of the biggest for sure ever installed on board of a ship, definitely on board of a yacht. So, and this is the synthesis of what we have done on board of Luminosity. The technology itself, which is obviously something extraordinary, is not the first time that we used this technology. But it's definitely one of the first time that we could manage the power in place and installed on board of this yacht. So the numbers are very, very important.
Normally at this stage on the boat show we would do a sea trial, but that's not really possible on a vessel the size of Luminosity. Just consider that her fuel capacity is 400,000 litres. So even if we fill the tanks just at 10%, well, it gets expensive. But we can do the next best thing, because we're here with Daniele, who was Benetti's head of production engineering during the 4 years that it took to build Luminosity. Daniele, obviously you were present on all the sea trials. How do all these complex systems come together in a real-life scenario?
First of all, in terms of comfort, the boat is amazing. You are at full speed and you go around the vessel, and the maximum noise level that you can record is around 35-36 dB, which is basically nothing. You're in the master cabin and what you hear is just the sea noise on the back and stop. It was quite impressive on the first sea trial, which we didn't know what to expect, to be honest. We were going around the boat, we didn't even know if the boat was moving or if it was still stopped at the berth. In terms of efficiency, the boat again is amazing. Imagine that you have the 6 generators plus the load that the battery can give. We as Benetti already saw in a previous boat the benefit of the electric propulsion. One of the first things we saw in the beginning was, that looked strange to us, was that of course when the generators start to run, after a couple of them you have the delay time, so you don't have immediately the load ready for the necessity of the vessel. Thanks to the battery, thanks to the electrical propulsion, this problem is avoided. Imagine that you are in the marina, you are leaving the port, you just want to accelerate and go away, the battery gives you this load necessity that you don't have. The same in terms of the hotel load. You have your guest on board, they decided to turn on every single equipment at the same time, you don't need to wait the generator started to run. You have the battery that enter into the system and immediately supply the correct load that the vessel requires in that moment, which is amazing. It's something new, it's something that we never did as Benetti, and it's also new in the yacht industry. And finally, in terms of performance, the boat has a maximum speed of 16 knots and a cruising speed of 10 knots. So considering the 400,000 liters fuel capacity that the boat has, it means that the range is around, actually more than 8,000 nautical miles, which basically means that you can do the Atlantic, return, and you also have some fuel left. Also in terms of load, hotel load, of course, the batteries supply the vessel for around 6-8 hours just with the batteries only. This helps the comfort of the guest on board. It helps the crew to manage better the load on board. It's a cool project.
Diesel-electric ships and submarines have been around since the turn of the 20th century, and Ferdinand Porsche proposed a gasoline-electric car 100 years or more before hybrid or electric cars became commercially available. So the underlying principles are not particularly new. But what is new are the advances in systems and power management technologies that allow ever smarter and more efficient solutions. And I think from what we've seen and heard today, you'll agree that Benetti with Luminosity are at the cutting edge of those advances.